Controversy, opinion, point of view. This is Prime News.
The Los Angeles County coroner tonight says Natalie Wood apparently slipped, hit her head, and drowned. The coroner says the 43-year-old actress was legally drunk when she died over the weekend.
A heated but non-violent argument had ensued between Wood's husband, Robert Wagner, and actor Christopher Walken, a guest on the yacht.
I mean, I was in shock, you know, I'm in total shock. What really saved me were my children.
Within a split second, Robert Wagner picked up a wine bottle and smashed it on the coffee table and yelled out, "What are you trying to do, blank my wife?"
It is the story that continues to shock Hollywood. The new investigation into the death of legendary actress Natalie Wood. The star mysteriously died off the coast of California back in 1981. And there's a new witness who says she heard screams that night. So many people growing up watched her in classics like West Side Story, Gypsy, Rebel Without a Cause, Splendor in the Grass, and Miracle on 34th Street. For years, people in Hollywood whispered about a cover-up. Robert Wagner and Natalie Wood were the Brangelina of their time. They had children together. Police in California say they have credible evidence to reopen this case now. And now a witness says she heard screams someone must have heard. Here's what she told Entertainment Tonight.
Did you hear Natalie's screams from the water?
We heard this female voice yelling for help. Somebody help me, I'm drowning.
How long did the screaming go on for?
25 minutes.
Recently, we have received information which we felt was substantial, enough to make us take another look at this case. The case has been assigned to 2 sheriff's homicide investigators who will be following up on the additional information, as well as any other additional information that may develop. Any questions?
Is Robert Wagner a suspect?
No.
All right, so if Robert Wagner's not a suspect, then what's going on here? I mean, why open the case back up? Actor Christopher Walken was also on the boat at the time. He's reportedly retained a lawyer. Back with me, Steve Kardian, and joining me now, the senior editor of In Touch Weekly, Kim Seraphin, and in-session correspondent on our sister network, True TV, Beth Karras. Go to Steve Kardian on this one. Steve, I mean, is this maybe a ploy to say he's not a suspect right now? In fact, Robert Wagner, I want you to come on in and talk to us real quick, to answer some informal questions, because if they said, hey, he's a suspect, I'm sure he'd be very opposed to answering any questions at all.
Yeah, Carlos, he would be lawyering up right now if they were using that terminology. Nothing that's been heard. There were 4 people on that boat that night. Nothing that's been stated directly involves anyone in a crime. And the captain would be a horrible witness because he's already lied to law enforcement. His story is continuously inconsistent, and I don't think any prosecutor would want to put him on as any type of a witness. So I don't think that there's very much coming out of this, including 30 years ago, the woman hearing the screams. It had great value then, and I know she hasn't changed her story, but it had greater value then. All this had greater value then, but it's not going anywhere.
Well, one of the biggest issues surrounding this case was the initial accidental death ruling. The autopsy report showed that the star died with 24 bruises on her body. That includes bruises on her arm and left cheek. But 24 bruises is a lot for someone to be found with. Steve, is it possible for someone to receive that much trauma from an accidental drowning?
You know, Vinny, Carlos, I'm sorry, that 30 years ago, law enforcement was much different than it is now. And I would imagine that had this been investigated in this current time, that it would be a much more thorough investigation. So, yeah, it is very suspicious that there were that many bruises on her and that she was that highly intoxicated. And there's a lot of questions that aren't answered here.
Beth Karras, Kim Seraphin, Steve Kardian, thanks so much, guys.